State knows what he's talking about. But data from the TSC itself indicates that up to 80% of that 56,000 teachers were hired on short-term contracts, Mr. Speaker. And only 20% of those are permanently employed. That is something you need to say to the state, to the nation, so that we know the true state of affairs when it comes to the hiring of our teachers. Mr. Speaker, let me continue. He also announced that in September, or that in June of this year, his administration would employ 103 community health promoters. And we saw him flagging off distribution of 100,000 kits to be used by those people. Mr. Speaker, the fact of the matter is that that is not true. That is not true. In fact, counties are supposed to identify the people to be recruited as CHPs, and that progress is ongoing. So you cannot claim something has happened, yet it has not happened, just to massage the numbers and appear like your government is working. Next, Mr. Speaker, he told us, I am on the speech. These are contents of the President's speech. I'm not
what is
making
the
up
point
anything.
of order?
Thank you, Speaker. I hate to interrupt the Senator for Nairobi. The 100,000 community health promoters were launched on Mashujaa
Are you
Day.
on a point of information
Yes.
or a point of
Is
order?
in order, Mr. Speaker, to mislead the House without giving us evidence to support his claim that we did not recruit 100,000 community health promoters? We did.
Mr.
Senator
Speaker,
Sifuna, is your assertion factual?
Mr. Speaker, I represent a county.
If indeed,
I represent a county.
Senator Sifuna, if it's factual, let it form part of those factual claims that you
Please, I will substantiate whatever is required for me to substantiate, because, Mr. Speaker, the truth is the only weapon we have against the lies that are there in the world. Mr. Speaker, let me go to the question of recruitment of healthcare workers. Told us 20,000 healthcare workers have been employed. This one is also not true. In fact, the reports we have are that only about 1,200 interns were deployed to hospitals since the beginning of the year, not the 3,394 that the President spoke about. Let me conclude, Mr. Speaker, on the question of Wi-Fi hotspots. And this one, if you want me to substantiate, I will take you to the hotspot. We were told that he has set up Wi-Fi hotspots across the country, including here in Nairobi County, in markets such as Muthurwa and city markets. This one, I will just invite you to carry your devices to city market. It is walking distance here, Mr. Speaker. And you will see that, in fact, those things do not work. Finally, Mr. Speaker, the famous one of Hustler Fund.
Senator Sifuna, are you saying it wasn't, it's not working, or it wasn't provided?
Mr. Speaker, I have told this House on previous occasion that, in fact, I was there. I have 20 minutes. Mr. Speaker, I was present with the CS for ICT at City Market on the day of the launch. Weeks later, I was being called by traders there that that thing no longer works, and that is the current situation today. Mr. Speaker, let me finish with the question of the Hustler Fund. First, people need to understand one thing, that what Mama Mboga needs is the purchasing power of their customers to grow or to be retained at the level at which it was. It is pointless for you to give Mama Mboga a loan to expand, quote unquote, their business, and yet you are raiding the pockets of our customers in a way that it is impossible for them to spend money at Mama Mboga's stall. Number two, Mr. Speaker, the CBK data shows that the default rate of the loans borrowed under this Hustler Fund is higher than the ones of commercial banks. Mr. Speaker, of the 10.2 billion shillings that is outstanding.
What is your point of order, Senator Veronica?
The Senator for Nairobi, Senator Sifuna, in order to indicate that the default rate is as he's reading. Should he not issue substantiated reports, Mr. Speaker, These are based on facts, and we are allowing too many things to pass, Mr. Speaker, without demanding for accuracy of the information that is being given to this House. Mr. Speaker, the Senator for Nairobi would need to substantiate that fact on the Hustler Fund and the loan repayment and the default rate, and also substantiate the fact that the Wi-Fis are not working, Mr. Speaker, sir. And to substantiate on the Wi-Fi, he will need a technical report to actually show, to actually express that these Wi-Fis are not working. Mr. Speaker, I am aware that those Wi-Fis are working, even the one in Nairobi. And if it is not so, then let him bring a substantiation report based on fact, technical, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Sifuna, on the Wi-Fi, you may not be able to substantiate right away.
Mr.
Are
Speaker,
you able to substantiate on the default on the loan repayment?
Mr. Speaker, you can give me some credit as the person who represents the traders at these markets. I am in constant communication with these people. We are not talking about Wi-Fi in Kiambu. We are talking about Wi-Fi in Nairobi, the people I represent.
Very well.
If you want to substantiate Senator, whether Wi-Fi is working, you go there and try it.
Senator Sifuna,
you go there and try it.
Senator Sifuna, there is a point of order that has been raised.
The second one,
and
Mr.
I'm
Speaker.
proceeding to
Yes.
make a ruling on it.
The second one.
One, this is my ruling on the point of order raised by Senator Veronica. Just take a seat. One, you've been called upon to substantiate on the issue of Wi-Fi. That you cannot do right away because certainly you need a technical report. So again, you will bring that substantiation tomorrow as you substantiate on the earlier point of order. Then there is some facts you need to substantiate the issue of default on repayment of the loans from the hustler vis-a-vis the commercial loans. Are you able to substantiate right now? Proceed to substantiate.
Mr. Speaker, you know, we should not engage here in what we call kizungu mingi. This is a term of art we use here in Nairobi. That when people are unable to explain to the wananchi what they have done, they want reports, technical reports. What technical report does a trader in Muthurwa need to know that when he tries to log in, the thing is not working? On the question, yes, on the question of the default rate, yes. Mr. Speaker, these are the figures from the CBK. Mr. Speaker, can I be allowed to proceed? I am the most interrupted senator in this House. For heaven's sake.
Order, honorable senators. Allow the senator, you have raised a point of order, let the senator substantiate. Thereafter, you will rise on your point of order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Now, the question of the default rate is a question of math and your capacity to comprehend math. 10.2 billion shillings outstanding as loans, 3 billion out of that, Mr. Speaker, which is almost 30%, is listed as non-performing loans. Now, you don't need to be a genius to know what non-performing loans mean. Then you take that figure of 30%, Mr. Speaker, compare it with the figure of default in commercial banks. You will see which one has a higher default rate. And I will provide that evidence, in fact, tomorrow, of what the current default rate for commercial loans are vis-a-vis the default rate.
That's exactly what
Senator that is very simple for me to do,
so
Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, let me conclude.
What is your point of order, Senator Kenywa?
Mr. Speaker, the Senator of Nairobi cannot assume or pretend, Mr. Speaker, he monopolizes Muthurwa market. The President of the Republic of Kenya, William Samoei Arap Ruto, represent those people. They voted for him the way they voted for him. So he cannot pretend by saying, every time he's standing here to speak, Mr. Speaker, to say I represent those people. They call me every day. They call the President as well. They call us as well, Mr. Speaker.
What is the point of order?
The point of order, Mr. Speaker, is 105, Mr. Speaker. He's misleading this House.
Senator Sifuna, in reference to the people of Nairobi, you have to know that the people of Nairobi voted for 6 leaders. All those 6 leaders represent the people of Nairobi, including His Excellency the President. Kindly proceed.
Very well, Mr. Speaker. It is also important for you to note that of the 6 people who were elected in Nairobi, I received the highest votes of those 6 people, including more votes than the President in Nairobi. So I speak for more people than him. Mr. Speaker, let me finalize by saying, unfortunately for me, I don't get the privilege of putting, televising my telephone conversations with the traders in Muthurwa and the traders in the other markets, Mr. Speaker, like the President was pretending to do. But the truth of the matter is these people communicate with their leaders. Let me finalize, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Sifuna, you need to start using parliamentary language.
What's unparliamentary?
You know, when you say the president was pretending.
Mr. Speaker, that was obviously a staged call. Everybody can see in the video. It was a staged call, and we should call it for what it is. Senator
Sifuna, I'm guiding you. If you proceed in that manner, you know exactly what will befall you. Proceed.
Speaker, let me finalize by addressing the question of some of the reasons that the President gave for what tribulations Kenyans are going through. And Mr. Speaker, for the first time, the head of state acknowledges that events outside of Kenya have a bearing on the state of the nation. And he cited the Ukraine war. And Mr. Speaker, of late, we are hearing that, in fact, the war in Gaza might even affect the prices of fuel. This is a radical departure from the position that the President took during the campaigns. He, in fact, dismissed any involvement or any role of outside events, including the war in Ukraine that began before the election, in the state of the nation. That he has chosen now to turn and
Senator. No, we took note of those objections. Senator Roba.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I rise to support the statement of the President. And as I rise to support, I would like to single out a few issues that I identified with as a leader